we have to understand that the nature of ourselves, it's silence. And why we say that the true nature of the self is silence? It's not poetic, it's not philosophical, but it's a fact. Because right now that I'm talking, prior to the sound and the words, there is silence. During the expression of the sound, which actually it's a form, there is the background of silence, and then the sound, the word, or whatever kind of sound, returns back to silence. Mm-hmm. So even though the sounds appear and disappear, they are coming like a fountain, and they go back. Silence, it is always there. So in each moment of appearance and disappearance, there must be this background in order to hear the sound. Mm-hmm. In that terms, we say, with logic, that if there is something constantly, without appearing, without disappearing, it's silence. As a matter of fact, because there is constantly silence, sounds can appear and disappear. Now, here is I'm going to give another example for that because I want to move on afterwards to explain something else. The more easy for us to understand example is that the blackboard on the class exists prior taking the chalk and write or design something. But we have to understand with logic. Imagine, while you draw the lines or the words on the blackboard, mm-hmm. the blackboard, it's still there. As a matter of fact, if there is no blackboard, while you have this white chalk writing, you cannot see the difference between the white chalk and the black. When you erase the words or the drawings, the blackboard still remains. Mm-hmm. Blackboard prior the expression of the white chalk, during, because otherwise I cannot see, and after. So if there is something true, which means it never changes, it never be a little bit of that, or it's always the blackboard, it's always the silence. It's come so many information now, but let's move on. Now, to return again back to silence as a blackboard, you cannot talk about silence for two reasons. While talking, even though there is silence, because we are not accustomed to it, you disturb silence. This is half true, but it's just for us to understand that I cannot talk to you about how beautiful is silence. Oh, you have to be in silence. And you said, yes, I have to be in silence, because as we talk, this subtle silence as background, it's impossible for us to understand. Mm-hmm. There is only one way regarding silence and regarding our true nature. It's to shut up, which means be and become silence. Either become or be is the same thing. Mm-hmm. In that notion, spirituality, which is the truth, which truth is this silence, is this blackboard for the speaking's sake. Mm-hmm. You cannot talk about it. Either you go into this truth, which is undescribable, or you don't. Definitely, if truth, which is silence, you cannot talk about it because you make noise. Second, you have to experience it that. So what you do is you do nothing. That's another important thing. You don't go out to find silence. You don't go to the Himalayas to find silence. You don't go to a forest. You just shut up. In silence, it's there. It's not out of you. You don't do nothing. Actually, you do nothing. Because that's the essence of the truth that Maharaj is trying to say. If you want to find it, do nothing. Stay in this beingness, he says, I amness, but for this example is stay to the silence, because after a long time you're going to see that you are prior silence. Somebody knows about the silence, but this is not the issue right now. The thing that you have to understand, again, because it came to me, regarding the blackboard / silence and the white chalk / sounds, expressions in whatever way, is that blackboard is infinite. Why? Because it's not circled into a white letter by a white chalk or a design. Blackboard, it's infinite. And inside or on the surface of this blackboard or in the surface or the background of the silence, there are specific manifestations. They can be infinite, you can draw infinite things, still they are specific. So any kind of manifestation, it's a circle, it shrinks you. Whatever the beauty of it, it's specific. And the second part, and most important, it has a specific time span. You can talk endlessly, taking drugs for hours and days, but then you would definitely going to shut up. So all manifestation in words, since we have the silence today as an experiment, rather than as an example, is to understand that all words are specific. They are small circle. You say, I am a man. It's a very specific thing. It's a very specific sound. It's a very specific drawing in this blackboard. The blackboard is infinite because it doesn't have a specific shape or a specific letter. The most important thing for us people to understand is that there is no such a theory or system that it would lead you to this silence, which is our true nature. All we have to do is not to talk. And even though talking is necessary to do our worldly dealings, after doing our worldly dealings, to go to our work, to talk with our children, we have to go back to this silent, which is second important thing, inside us. This silent is inside. It cannot be outside. Third and very important, this silent is one in everything. It doesn't matter how I feel regarding the silent. I can feel awkward, I will love it, I'll hate it. This has to do with my ego as for the feeling of the silent. But as a fact, the silent is one. It was the same billions of years even prior to the Big Bang, and would remain the same after of trillions of years, or I don't know how much time forth, as the silence right now. This silence is the same thing that we see and we read in the spiritual scriptures, but it's us, but we never got it. This means, in other words, that this silence, which is me, it's omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. Because of the silent, I can know the sounds. Know in terms of experiencing. The silence, it's everywhere in the whole infinite universe. And also in the time frame as we want we humans to describe. And as we say it in our everyday word, but we don't get it, it's the most powerful thing. We experience when things are in silence, and that's why many people, we feel awkward. So if we can ever want to a little bit simplify, even though he has talked about it, I'm referring to our guru, Nisargadatta Maharaj, is that every day if we really want to find our truth with logic, the truth is something that is unchangeable. And what is unchangeable especially in this society in our days, which is overwhelmed with information and noise, is that the noise needs definitely a background, which is silence, which is this blackboard, or the quite opposite, a white canvas that you can paint everything. Now, if we realize this, what we have to do is very simple. Shut the fuck up. At the first step, without talking, so diminish the talking with your friends, beloved ones, relatives, whatever, and just try to train yourself to talk only what is necessary. And then this will slowly, if you train yourself, because we don't. That's why insecure people talk a lot. They want noise, because noise is activity. It's I'm present, I'm not alone. Because this silence eventually will lead you to the silence of thoughts. And that's where this method, especially for the thoughts, which is very difficult to do it, because it's one thing to talk about it and another thing to practice it. It's to turn your attention from outside to your thoughts, to your mind, to the body, to the world, towards the attention itself. So this light to turn to itself. This silence is the equivalent of what we were saying about the colors. We keep on missing that we are not the blue, the red, the green. Why? Because the blue, the red and green need a light in order to be seen. And we are this light. It's not again philosophical, it's a fact. You open your eyes and you see blue, green and brown and design. The very fact that you see blue and green, it means that you cannot be the blue, green and brown. However, because from small children we keep on looking on colors and shapes and designs, we are fascinated with colors, designs and sounds. We are fascinated with the manifestations where, in essence, in pure logic, fuck theory, fuck Maharaj, fuck any kind of spiritual, if there is no silence, there cannot be any sound. There cannot be any kind of manifestation. If there is no pure light, the everyday light, there can be no colors and there can be no designs. But this silence, because the light, it's very difficult to somebody to say, experience the unseen light. He gets crazy, even though we like to push ourselves to this void, because it's not nothing. The silence and the blackboard, it's not nothing in terms of it's a void, it's a very powerful, it's the whole base of whatever it's manifested. But in terms of mind, we call it nothingness, not a thing. A blackboard and silence, it's prior to any manifestation of white chalk with designs, or right now that I'm talking, which what you hear, it's forms of sound, shapes, but then they disappear. Where do they go? To silence. Where is that silence? Everywhere. But you cannot talk about it. You have to be silence. Do nothing, in other words, and shut up. That's the training. Not the method. It's pure training.